This is Irontrader. It is hump day, which means it is crude day. Now, the API report came out on crude yesterday, and they had a draw of 2.4 million. Gasoline had a build of 1 million. Distillates had a build of 500,000. And Cushing had a small draw of 100,000. Now, the EIA report will be out today at 10:30. We'll see if it all confirms. Okay, we're going to take a look here at Bitcoin, gold, silver, crude oil, natural gas. And now the old NASDAQ is down, but we're going to take a look here at the old VIX today, the VIX. Okay, this video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation to buy or sell the stock market ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Here we have Bitcoin daily chart, all stretched out nicely here. All right, let's see what we got. Now, you can see here where we had this double top situation. We're watching this 123.615, and we got all the way up to 125.200. Okay, so but you notice that it could not hold it, and it could not close above that candle. That is key. Now, when we were down this level here, I said you have left shoulder, a head, and the right shoulder. If we just do the old flip ski on that, you're going to come out to about 125.5. It came out to 125.2. Okay, now just remember when you have these big numbers, over 125,000, it's not like trading a $3 stock or $5 stock or something like that. Okay, so again, you're going to be right in that area, and that's where we came. And now we're selling. We sold right on off. Now we have a nice series of lower lows and lower highs. That's not good. Now yesterday, you notice it came all the way down, and we retested that 112 level here, and also, but we held that 50-day on a closing basis, so we're looking there pretty good. Now, yesterday we had that low of 112.820, and today we had a low here of 112.765. So we went just a little bit lower here so far, so we had a series of lower lows. So now we have to be just a little bit careful. Now, what we're really watching is this 50-day, okay, 113.645. That's what we have to maintain on a closing basis. Okay, that's going to be very, very crucial. Now, if we don't, then we go to yesterday's low. You're looking at that 112.820. Obviously, we look at today's low at 112.765 level. Okay, but what we're really looking at is yesterday's low, because today this could go either much lower or much higher. So we look at that. Now, the next level we're looking for is right here. This is the top of that candle, 112.345 level. Then we'll come over to the top of that candle at that 111.220. That's going to be your next support level. Then we'll come over to the top of this candle. You're looking at 110.265. And then we'll come top of there. You're looking at 109.685. And then we can just drop it right on down to the bottom of that candle, 108.625 level. And then we have 107.840. And then we'll come right to the bottom there at that 107.680. And then we're going to be looking for right here for this level at that 100-day at 104.883. But that's only if we lose that 50-day and we lose this price channel situation. Okay, but I always like to show you. So everything you really need to know is sitting right here as far as your support levels. Right now, the upside, what we're looking for is the bottom of this candle. Okay, so you're looking at that 114.925. That's going to be your resistance level. Then we'll come up to the bottom of this candle. You're looking at 116.295, and we'll come to the bottom. Okay, you're looking at 117.175, but really looking, this is the key level, is that 117.449, and then we have your 8-day right above it at 117.991. Now you can see where the 8-day is up still above the 21-day, which is good. If that rolls and that crosses over, okay, this here is going to provide very, very strong resistance, okay, as this would rally up. So always remember that, okay? So it's just like here's a good example. Came right up, right into it, and then it took something, to blow this kind of a situation through. So for today, this is what we want to watch, is you want to watch right there, that 50-day, and we want to watch that key price channel. We lose it, then we're going to be just bring these levels right across, okay, because that's going to be our target zones. Now, look at the RSI. We had this negative divergence going here. Okay, look at there. See, high, higher high, high, lower high. Negative divergence. Always pay attention to the RSI. Okay, now, you're sitting at 45. That's not overbought. That's not oversold. The green is below your red. Shows that obviously we have momentum to the downside. But we'll see if that can curl back up. Now, usually here with Bitcoin, this has been trading, with the overall market. Now, it's right now it's up about 795. But remember, when the market goes up, this would go up. And kind of like vice versa situation. It looks like when the Nasdaq sold off yesterday, this also sold off very, very hard. Okay, so you want to always pay attention to that. Anything that'll give you an edge in trading. So That 50-day is going to be key, and then we want to watch that price down. So don't go all in. Give it time for this to shake out. We can always buy it, even if it starts running up a little bit higher. But the key is on the upside, you have to get above that 117,447, and you have to get above that 117,944.45. If we do, obviously, then here's your price target. There's your line. It's going to be 119,810. Okay, but that's going to be very, very strong resistance. So let's see how that all shakes out. Okay, let's take a look here now at gold and silver. Here we have gold and silver. So you can see gold is just kind of like a whole lot of nothing. And you can see how strong that 8-day. So I'll just remember that when you look at that Bitcoin chart, how strong that 8-day and that 21 days. Now the 8-day crossed over that 21-day, and you can see how strong that is, like a brick wall trying to get through. You have to have something catalyst to take it back above. All right. So right now what we're watching on the upside is we're watching this 50-day at, okay, 3374. Okay. Then we're going to be watching that 8-day 3383, and then we're watching a 21-day at 3390. That's going to be very, very strong resistance. Obviously, we can get above that. Then we come right to the top of that candle at that 3403 level, and we come up top to there at 3423, and then roll the red on up. But right now for today, just all we have to worry about is this 50-day, okay, the 8-day, and that 21-day on the upside. Now, here on the downside, we put in another lower low, 33.53 level here so far. Your next level is going to be right there at that 33.31 level. And then we have 33.24. There's your 100-day. And then we have your retest at 3,300 flat, which is basically the bottom of that candle. Right now, we just have a sideways action. But, okay, that 8-day, 21-day, very, very strong. Got a big time hold on it, as we can see here in the past. So you need a catalyst for this to get above and to take it higher. Now, we have the RSI. You're sitting at 47. That's not overbought or oversold. The green is below your red, shows momentum to the downside, and that's what we bottom basically have. Now, this was like a bear flag situation. It's just stringing right on out, okay, very, very slowly. Usually when you get a bear flag, you'll rally up here, and then, boom, one big drop. But this is just slowly moving all the way on down. Okay, so just be patient for me. I have no trade in this unless we can close above the 50-day, 21-day, and that key 8-day. Everything. We close above that, then I'll take a GLD trade. But right now, I just think this looks like it's lower. Wants to retest that 100-day and possibly that 3,300. Now, silver. Ooh, yeah, not good. All right. We had this huge resistant area. Okay, so we're looking at this all the way through, and we can bring the candles all the way through that. See, look at my white line. See that how much resistance? Could not get through that. Now, same thing here. We were the 8-day, never did cross over the 21-day, and now it's rolling back over. Right? So we had like a bear flag situation, and then boom, down yesterday. It came right on down. It could not get through, and now we have this lower low situation. So on the downside, what you're looking for, today's low is 36.96. Your next level is going to be right here, 36.76. That's going to be your next level, and then we'll come to the bottom of that candle at 36.40, and then we have your retest there at that 36.28, which is basically just the bottom of that candle. Now, if that is all lost, all we do is bring this price channel right across. Boom. There you go. 35.58. There's your target. Next price channel, bring it across. 35.19. There's your target. And we have your 100-day sitting right there at that 35.28 level. Okay. Very, very easy. But again, I like to show you where it can go. But let's just see if it comes down to this price channel. Let's just see if you get a double bottom situation, and maybe we can take a scalp long, take it right back on up again. Okay, that's what I would, if it did hold this price channel, okay, at that 36.26, then I would jump in the SLV, and I would take it back to that at least to that 50-day. Now, on the upside, what we're watching is yesterday's low. All right, so you're looking at 37.24. We look at today's high at 37.38, but this is going to be the big boy right here, that 37.49. You got to get back above that 50 SMA. We get above that, and then your next level, 37.83, and then your next level is 37.99. Now, if you can get above all of that, which is a big time catalyst, then here's your target at 38.34. And then we can just venture right on up. But this is going to be your big target up here at 38.87 because it just could not get through. Okay, see that? Very, very nicely. So, series of lower lows situation, not good. Now, RSI rolling over, you're nowhere near oversold. The green is below your red. This just looks like this chart was going to go lower. Okay, that's just how it looks. Okay, now you have a high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high situation. Rounded down, looks like it wants to go lower. Okay, let's take a look here now at crude oil. Here we have crude oil. Now let's just see what we got going here. Now, the EIA report will be out today at 10:30. Yesterday was really nothing, to write home about. But again, I just want to reiterate that if they can make a deal and get a ceasefire going on in Ukraine and get that war settled out, part of the deal is going to be Putin's going to be pumping more oil on the market because right now the T-man does not want him to, sell to India and sell to this and sell to that to try to stagnate them. But basically, all it is a negotiation tool. Okay, so always remember that. But he'll be able to pump it on more oil. Saudi Arabia is pumping oil. But again, unless there's some kind of a disruption, like hurricane seasons right now until the end of September, first week of October, oil's going to go lower. It's just going to be that fact, or it's going to go like a sideways action. So you need a catalyst for this to go up higher. Now, I'm still have my SCO going. That's on the short ski. Okay, and all I do is I just scalp on the long side. But I will take the short off if we can close above that 8-day. Okay, so now here's what we have. The upside, we're looking for that 63 flat. Okay, we get above that, then we come on top of that, 63.38, and then we'll come to the top of that candle, 64.15, and then we're going to head for that 100-day at 64.51. Okay, very easy. Next line, 65.08 level, and then 66.64, and then we have your 200-day. So everything you need to know is sitting right here. 8-day, 100-day, 21-day, 50-day, 200-day. It's just that simple. Now, downside, basically we're watching that price channel, 61.45. That's going to be very, very key on a closing basis. All right. We lose that. Here you go. This is your next target. It's going to be is 61.06, and then we'll come right down to the bottom of this candle. You're looking at 60.55, and then we have your big retest down there at 59.74. Just bring that price channel right across. We start losing all that. We bring this price channel across. There's your next target, 57.74, and then we have 57.03. 56.39, and then we have this 55 level. Okay, that's what we got. So that's why we use price channels. Just bring them right across. Very, very simple. We know exactly where we are for support. But again, I like to show you where it can go, but you really have to lose is that 61.45 level. So now we're stair-stepping down. Okay, so a lot of times if you stair-step down, eventually if you can get back above that 8-day, then you can turn that downtrend around and we can take it back. But right now we're in a downtrending situation, and that 8-day is like a brick wall. Okay, so that's what we have to watch. Now, RSI never got to an oversold condition, so we're just kind of hanging right around that 40 level, and the same way with the MACD, that could go a lot lower. So right now, this is just a trade. Okay, so you're looking at the high side of 63, and your downside you're watching is that 61.45. So we're just going to trade this range. You crack above it, then I'll jump into UCO, and we'll take it to the 100-day, possible 21-day, 50-day, and your 200-day. Okay, so very, very easy on the trading right here. Just watch that key price channel, that downside. We start losing that 61.45 45 level, then we're going to be coming down, and this is going to be a big target. It's going to be right there at that 59.74. All right, let's take a look here now at natural gas. Here we have natural gas. You can see a downtrending situation. Now we had a nice uptrend going here, high, higher, high, higher, high, higher, high. Higher low highs all the way up here and higher lows. Very, very nice uptrending. And then it had that topping tail. See this bad boy? And then down she come. Now there's nothing bullish about this in any way, shape, or form. All right. So we have this downtrending situation. So what we're really watching is we're watching yesterday's low at that 2.72 level. That's going to be very, very key. Upside, we're watching this 8-day at 2.84. Now you can see where the 8-day rolling, 21-day. 50-day, 100-day, okay? Everything is to the downside, so that you have to get back above that 8-day, back above that 21-day, and try to reverse the situation. So today we're going to be watching this 284, then we're watching that 2.98, right? If we can get above that, we come up here at a 310. You have roughly 315, and then we have a 318 level, 326. And then we'll be looking for that 50-day at 329, 100-day, and then 200-day at 349. Okay? But you have to get above that 8-day in order to do that. Now, on the downside, we watched yesterday's low, 272. Okay? Now, if we lose it, all we do is look to the left of the chart. This is your next target right there at 268. Okay? That's that simple. We lose that, there's your next target at 264. Then all we do is come to the top of that at 257. Okay? And then we'll come to the bottom of that candle at 251. Okay, and all we do is just ratchet it right on down. You got 244 level. Okay, we have 237, and then we come down to the bottom there at 226, and then we can have a retest down there at 221. Okay, just that easy. Now again, if this keeps on selling, we have a target all the way down here at 152. Okay, so always remember that. Okay, now that being said, we're coming into seasonality. I looked at the farmers market, our farmers market. I looked at the farmers almanac, and looks like they're predicting a very, very cold, snowy winter. So natural gas is going to have its day again. Okay, so always, always, always remember that. It will have its day again. So never have an opinion. Wait and just trade this chart. Once this is in a downtrend, once that reverses, then that's the time to jump in. I'll jump into UNG, and then we'll take this long all the way in to the end of probably November. Okay, and then when you start getting into the futures, then you want to get out of this contract once you start getting around the December area. So we'll see how that all shakes out. Okay, but again, right now we have a downtrend situation, so just be patient. Watch that 8-day, very, very key. We get above it, watch that 21-day. Very, very critical. We get above that, all you got to do is hit 50-day, 100-day, 200-day. Downside, watch yesterday's low, very, very key, 2.72. All right, let's take a look here now at the VIX. Here we had the VIX. Now, you can see it's really doing really a whole lot of nothing, all right? So the charts work on anything. All right, so it doesn't really make any difference. So what you're really looking at on the upside is that 1594. Okay, now we get above that, then we can spike up to that 1688, and then we can come up to this 1919, which is your 200-day. Then we have your 100-day sitting at 2091, and then we have your retest at 2190. Okay, but right now you can see here, this is just absolutely just declining. There's really nothing here. Now, when you look at this, now, if we do get this, right now we have this period of end of August to about the first week or so of October and all September there. So you got this 6-8 week period, which is really the worst for stocks. Okay, so if we get these spikes like we had here, get these spikes, these are buying opportunities. Okay, the old saying, when the VIX is high, okay, you want to buy. That's what you want to do. All right. See, VIX is high, you want to buy it. These were great buying opportunities, so always take a look at the VIX. A lot of people try to say, well, the VIX really isn't, anything anymore, and I agree with that. However, it still does work. Okay, when you had this big spike high, that was the time to get in, and we had a beautiful bullish run here in all the stocks. All right, so always make a list of what you want to buy. Okay, whether it's NVIDIA or if it's Amazon or Meta, Microsoft, Apple, all these stocks, make a list of what you really want and then wait, just be patient. Again, if we get this bad time, now, again, this time of the year, it doesn't always play out, but most of the time it does. And if we get a spike high, that's when we want to get into the situation and we want to buy the stocks. Okay, so right now we're just lingering here on the bottom. There really isn't a whole lot of fear. There isn't a whole lot of anything. However, if Powell does not cut rates in September, that could trigger something. Okay, that could trigger. Now, I don't see why he'd want to cut rates for the simple reason is, you got to figure the inflation is starting to set in. When you put tariffs on, it's not instant. It's quarter, 2 quarters away that you might see the actual results of that. Okay, so always remember. So anytime that the VIX spikes, that's when you want to get in. Okay, that's what I got for you. Now I will be back here at midday trading. We'll take a look at some stocks and trade what's in front of you. Now what you want.